Hi everyone, James here again. Got a video going on today about a letter to the editor that I wrote last Friday to the newspaper here, Thief River Times. Great newspaper. They've helped me out a lot over the years. They do local printing and everything. They've always been very fair to me. Been a lot going on with Articat. I know I've mentioned them a lot. It's been a very personal issue with me and my wife and my family. And our local House representative, Representative Burkel, had yet to say anything about what was going on this entire time before I wrote this. I was fairly upset. I kind of spent 10 minutes writing an angry little rant there about it and sent it off to the editor. Um, what they did was, because I directly called out the representation of 1A, was ask him for a response, which, very fair. I mean, if you're calling out someone directly, they definitely deserve a chance to respond. I got a response. They published in the paper. He finally did say something about the situation that is going on in northwest Minnesota here in Pennington County, District 1A. I'm going to read my letter and then read his response there and kind of go over a few things. Um, Fair warning, if you hear some squeaking, my dog's down here trying to get my attention. He's being kind of silly, so you might hear that. I do this on my phone. I don't edit anything. These are all done single take because I don't know how to do anything yet. We'll learn. We'll figure it out one day. But my letter, again, was just kind of an angry rant I threw together in 10 minutes. It's not that good. I know it's not. It's passion over anything else. I'm not the best writer. I just kind of had some angry words to say, and I wanted to say them and wanted others to see. And I was hoping that maybe someone else would be like, hey, yeah, how come this entire time he hasn't said anything about what's going on in his district? How come he's ignoring a major business? You'd think representation would be a big thing for a massive Minnesota company that grew up here. Um, so I'll start out reading mine. Um, let's go from here. So to the editor, where do our representatives' priorities lie? I would hope that it would be with the needs of the people of District 1A. I would hope that through the economic uncertainties that our area has been facing recently, that there would have been attention. Oh, wow, I can't read either. I would hope that through the economic uncertainties that our area has been facing recently, that we would have the attention and empathy of those elected to help. 400 of our fellow northern Minnesotans have gotten notice that they will be most likely losing their jobs in May. Articat, a northern Minnesota iconic brand, is on the verge of disappearing. What have we heard from our district representative? We received a press release encouraging more gambling. We've heard House floor arguments to restrict children from being able to play sports. We've heard about culture war issues to get people mad at others instead of helping. I know the power of a state representative can only do so much, and I do not expect them to be able to solve all of our problems of a changing climate and snow conditions, or make what is essentially a luxury product massively available. I do not expect them to find a buyer for the plant and saves everyone's job. However, is it too much to at least ask for a statement, some sort of empathy from those that have been elected to lead our area? For 1 ounce of acknowledgement, instead we get uncaring silence. Our area deserves better. So that's what I wrote to the paper. They called me about an hour after I dropped it off because the editor was at lunch at the time. She said, "Hey, James, per our policies, we're going to give Representative Burkel a chance to respond." I said, "Oh yeah, that's absolutely fair. I'll never argue with that." And she's trying to help right now. She's not helping. And I said, "Of course, that's all I've wanted this whole time is a statement from him, a response." So their note right here Is editor's note, per the Times policy, upon receiving James Seville's letter to the editor, we reached out to State Rep John Burkel since Seville had specifically mentioned House District 1A. So his letter to the editor. It is sad to learn that any business has decided to close its doors. It is even more troubling to hear that when that company has been a mainstay in the community for decades. I am so disappointed to learn that Articat's closing. It has been an important asset to the city of Thief River Falls and to nearly 400 employees who work diligently to help the plant succeed. Those employees are now dealing with the unwanted stress of losing a job and wondering what their future holds. I've already been in contact with state and local officials to help determine the best ways to assist Articat employees. In fact, I'm working with the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development to ensure that the dislocated workers receive the help they need. I remain hopeful that someone will come forward to breathe new life into the brand or utilize the space to help preserve these important jobs for our community. I would encourage any Articat workers who are interested in learning what state resources are available to them to visit the following website, Career Force MN Dislocated Workers. Personally, I also want to remind displaced employees that I stand ready to help them and their families in any way that I can. And I can be reached at john.burkel@houseman.gov and at his phone number. So it's nice. It's very straightforward. I can't fault it at all. It's very sad to me how long it took to come out, that we've known what's been going on this whole time, that we've already had so many jobs lost, and he said nothing this entire time. He's been rep this entire time. Jobs have been lost before in this industry, and we've got nothing out of him. At this point, I'm not going to say it's too little too late, because anything's better than nothing, and I'm not going to ever say, you've done nothing, because, he finally did come out with something. But I don't think it's right that it took me bitching to get someone to say something. I am going to personally call him out on, that he's been working with the Minnesota Department of Economic Development. He voted against more funding for that. I was doing some looking around. SF 5289, HF 5205, extra funding for the employment and economic development. He voted no on that. So these services he wants you to use, he voted against that. So many bills for workers' rights. He voted against the family medical leave, was fighting against that. That had to go in the omnibus. The human services, the SF 5335, HF 5280, that all had to go in omnibus. He voted all against that, and that got set into a bunch of crap last year. Yeah. So instead of helping workers' rights, that all turned into a giant, giant hassle. And now we have less resources for workers in rural areas that are going to be struggling. We keep seeing in the news more places around the area that are getting hit. Down Fargo Moorhead area, Case was laying off. We've lost grain elevators everywhere. There's been a lot going on, and it's going to be most likely getting worse as the economy goes down. I know I've called out Burkel a lot, and I should probably go a little bit more, and I should probably look into what Steve Gander from 1B's been doing, because he's in my area, and Red Lake County is just south of us, and a lot of employees in Thief River come from Red Lake County, from Red Lake Falls, from Plummer. Senator Johnson has Senate District 1 up here. That's the entire area. So yeah, I might be being a little unfair just to John Burkel himself and not going through the entire area. I'll admit to that. I should probably spread it around a little bit more. And maybe I will in future videos. I probably should, just to be fair to everybody and not be just so petty on the one guy. I can admit that. But it's sad. I did see Senator Johnson at least put out a statement to some news sites. I saw him on a couple of videos, I think on WDAY. It's a news show out of Fargo here. Um, at least he said something. Don't see a lot coming from anybody else. It's not right that it takes someone like me bitching to a newspaper to get them to say anything. He put out on his Facebook page about his bill for heavier ATVs to go on trails, which I'm fine with that bill for the most part, as long as things are regulated right and the funding for trail repair is there. Because yeah, you're going to be getting electric UTVs, electric ATVs. They are heavier. We're probably going to need to do something about that if we want to keep our sports alive out here. I'm not going to say that's a bad bill at all until I sit there and read it a little bit more and make sure that it has purpose. Um, it, yeah, it's rural bills. It's not terrible. It's not the best. I think I got to sit there and go on that one a little bit more. But on that, he said just the littlest thing is, oh yeah, and Articat is having troubles right now, and it's about 3 lines on a whole post on that. He could have spent another 5 minutes saying a little bit more, especially when you're writing a bill that involves these companies and the products they make. I just find it kind of sad that you want to be an outdoor enthusiast, that you want to represent areas that these people live in that make these products, and you can't put forth the effort to support the workers that make them. And you got to do more. You got to do better. I understand that it's not that hard to get elected up here as a Republican. I understand the demographics in rural Minnesota. I'm not gonna try to say that it's exactly hard, just like it's, go down to the metro area and the cities. It's what it is. But I still think you should put forth the effort, you know? Um, I don't know. It's it's been very tough watching it get closer to May and knowing that job loss is coming, that there's still been no buyout to these companies, and the response that we get from him finally after me complaining to the newspaper that there's been no response is canned, and he's saying, "Yeah, I've been already talking to these people that you can just go to the economic development board, even though I want the funding cut for that, and you can just do this and this." And it's like there's not as many opportunities in the places we live because there's just not as many people. There's not as many companies. It's hard to replace good middle class jobs. You don't have them coming out here. And entire industries support each other out here. Uh, Articat feeds machine shops. I mean, you got fiberglass shops, you got welding shops out here. It's not just one company goes down, it's so many supporting companies. I mean, you get trucking companies alone. The amount of trucks that go through, it's shipping, it's everything. So one company going down takes a lot of outside jobs with it. It's not just Articat themselves. And it's hard to replace that. It's extremely hard to replace that. Sure, someone might buy the building, they might piecemeal it, but how long is that going to take? How long is it going to take to bring that kind of level of middle class manufacturing back? Are people going to move on? Are people going to move away? You already have that problem in rural America of people moving out of it. Brain drain has been common for years. You have people moving down to metro areas and the suburbs. Population shrinks out here. We lose a lot, and it's hard to get people to move back out. I don't want to keep seeing that. I want our representatives to have at least some empathy, not just when they have to, but beforehand. You know, come down to where the issues are. Represent your whole district. I get it. I get how big this district is. I've been to every single town in it in a day. I know it's hard, but you got to put in the effort. I feel you have to put in the effort if you want to represent. I don't feel we get that representation out here in rural Minnesota. I don't see it for so many of our districts. Um, I look just east of us in District 2 and just how little Red Lake gets represented. You know, they're sure they're independent nation, everything, our sovereign nation, excuse me. Um, they're ignored so often. You go up to the England, no one goes up to see them up there. It's Baudette. Very, very rarely do they get any visitors. You know, these towns are important, these people are important, and they're just so left out all the time. And I think our politicians need to do better, especially the ones from the areas out here. You know, I have a lot of people that I still talk to that I ran with DFL, and they're still trying to make an effort. I don't talk to a lot of people on the GOP side. I mean, that's just not my friends at all. You know, I don't have a lot of them, but I hope that they're out there. I look at Michelle Fishbach and just how little she gets out there, and she has all these town halls that she doesn't go to. She sends staffers out, and they barely show up, and it's it's kind of sad what becomes commonplace for what's accepted from these politicians and what people are okay with because it's the right team. It's, oh, that's, you know, that's who we're going to vote for because at least it's not the other guy. You know, I understand that not everyone is capable of running. I understand that not everyone wants to put in the, I'm not going to say the effort because that doesn't sound right, but not everyone's willing to put in the risk that's involved because it's tough. You put your name out there and people go after you. People want every little bit of your life on it. Um, but we need more people that can do it. Uh, and I hope we get good candidates out there coming. I hope we can really get some good people. Um, so yeah, that's kind of what I had is kind of updating on that. You know, I just kind of sitting here ranting for 18 minutes. It got a little bit longer than I meant it to. But yeah, Representative Burkel, I guess thank you for finally saying something, but kind of a canned response, and I hope you don't keep voting against the aid that you say you want people to do as these jobs start disappearing. See what you have lined up for bills currently. Now that the House is split again evenly, hopefully we can get some actual legislation through. Um, Not counting on it too much because team politics is where we're at now, but we'll see. We'll see. Um, I am going to be trying to do a video here about what it's like running as a rural Democrat in very red areas. Um, Try to get together with some people that I had for volunteers so we can kind of go over some of the experiences we had just in case anyone else is interested in running and wants to know what it's actually like. I mean, no sugarcoating or anything. Um, Watch out for those videos. Um, they won't be dumb memes like the other one I put out. That was just for fun for my daughter. But yeah, there's going to be some stuff coming out, and we'll kind of go from there. So if you've listened to me this long, Thank you. Um, put out some more stuff.